A very busy week. It wasn't a week like being on holiday, sitting next to a pool.
You have to kind of pinch yourself, but phenomenal.
So everyone wants to get done with this. Everybody wants to actually finish.
One achievement, no matter how small, will always give you the understanding or realization that the more you achieve, the more you learn.
Wind, sand, baking heat, rot, and it's hot. An absolutely amazing place for an amazing expedition with an amazing group of people.
This year's group of graduates left for the Namib Desert, having heard tales of struggle and strife from last year's challengers. It was now their turn to tackle possibly the toughest annual graduate trip in the world.
Part of the INEOS philosophy is to encourage people to take on more. We wanted to make it a proper challenge. It wasn't to be a walk in the park. It was something which people would feel at the end of the trip, accomplish something personally.
It was just, yeah.
Since this challenge was born over 4 years ago, many have attempted it, only some have completed it, including Jim Ratcliffe himself.
If Jim can do it, then I've got no leg to stand on.
INNAM 19 will see this year's third-year graduates run, cycle and hike 338 kilometres across the world's oldest desert, before arriving in Damaraland, situated on the eastern side of the Skeleton Coast National Park. They will cycle a total of 212 kilometres, run a total of 84 kilometres through the deep sand, and will have to hike 42 kilometres up and down the highest point in Namibia in order to complete the challenge. No one group has ever completed every single kilometre. Do this year's challengers have what it takes? After a misty and moody start to the trip, the grads have time to reflect on how they landed in Namibia.
When I heard about it and what it entailed, I was pretty much 90%. No, I'm not going to do this. There's no way I can do this. Why would I want to do this? I think the events, the first year, the third year one, but particularly the third year one, it just made you think you'd be missing out on a once in a lifetime opportunity.
This challenge really made me more of a sportsman or an endurance athlete than I ever was. I grew up playing hockey all through my childhood and running a little bit, but it wasn't really until this challenge came about that I decided I had to start running and biking and figuring all this out. And it's really been a great experience doing that. It's just been wonderful.
I got an email from Jim to say that having Tim Avery on the tour last year was such a success that he wanted to do it again, and therefore said that we should probably have a couple of senior guys come along to work with the graduates. My name was one of the names on the list, so it would be rude to say no. I've never done anything as physically demanding as this, so I thought, well, what a great challenge to give myself at this time of life.
Having some of the senior members of staff, I think it's a huge thing for the grads to have guys like that involved and spending time with them. But also, I think it's really important for them to see what the grads get through and what the deal's all about.
These are long, long days. You start very early in the morning, it's cold. You know it's going to be a long, long day, so just everything is sitting in your face and pushing against you. So I think that's certainly something I've learned. You've got to be pretty tough upstairs to get through this.
The grads took part in a series of training events, including an endurance event in Lanzarote, the Houston Marathon,
Hey guys, yeah! That's right!
Creating their own personal training regimes in their hometowns, following some valuable advice from last year's challengers.
They can tell you everything, at home, how it is. It's going to be hot, it's going to be difficult, the long days. It has been some of that. I think I've been pleasantly surprised how prepared we are.
The decision maker for me was not, and I can't believe I'm saying this now, being here, but it wasn't for the trip. It was for the 11 months of training.
And what about like cross training? Anything in the gym, any strength training? Or?
Yeah, we started doing strength training. Salim sent out, he put together a program for us.
Oh, brilliant.
It was for the perseverance and the mental fortitude that it was going to take, and the fact that I knew that I would have this group that would be supporting me and driving me, that if I was ever going to run a marathon, that sounds like the most ridiculous thing to me a year ago. I would never have accomplished that without this group. That was the deciding factor for me, was that the group motivation and training was too big of an opportunity to pass up on.
It's important to take advantage of the morning temperatures and get a head start on what was going to be a tough day ahead. It was going to consist of a 21-kilometre run out of the Messam crater, followed by a 51-kilometre bike ride to the foothills of the Brandberg mountain.
Everybody here? Yeah. To start with, we're just gonna take an off-road route, the Tigers line through here. We're not gonna go backwards. There's a whole lot of roads all over there. Once we get on the route, we'll start a little jog, okay?
There was one time where my sister had been running and she's like, hey, let's go to a half marathon. And so I didn't train for it, I just went out and I did it and I got through it. But at the end, everything hurt. Ankles hurt, knees hurt. I'm like, okay, my body's just not built for this, I'm done. So then when this challenge came, it was about 2 years later at the point I had done that, and again, just stopped running altogether because it just didn't seem like it was for me. And so I was really worried that as I started to do these distances and these challenges that injuries would pop up, and they did, but nothing you couldn't kind of handle.
34 kilometers. Yeah. You still got it. You got to drop it here, okay?
That's the plan.
Cool, catch you later.
You just know you can get through it. It really is a lot of it mental. It's amazing what the human body can do.
The conditions in southern Africa are very different to where the grads were training. Luckily, last year's ambassadors were on hand to help them battle through.
We have our ambassadors in Cologne. They were really motivated in helping us find our way to prepare.
Okay, go, go, go.
And if you're not used to it, it is really a change. And you need someone to kick your ass at some point in time. Julian, he's a guy who's able to kick your ass if you need it. He joined me on my marathon in Cologne. He was with me the first 25 kilometers and left me alone for the rest. And then I knew that I can make it as well in Namibia. The best way to lead people is to make them aware of the goals that they want to achieve and that these goals point into the same direction as you want to go.
I'm not somebody to jump into something just because everyone else is doing it. And so Todd told me he'd been that way and that it was going to be great and we were going to have a blast. He definitely got me to commit to it, and then after that has pushed me and all of us to do more. From my experience, he's a fantastic leader. He definitely has done his best to sort of look to each person and see how they respond to leadership and how they will actually benefit from it.
If you're not ready when I'm ready, I will leave you behind. There is no bus. Nobody gets in this bus. It doesn't exist. No shit.
Phil Steffi out here is pretty much the embodiment of a good leader to me. I think being a good leader takes a lot of patience, a lot of tolerance, and just very supportive of the entire group and willing to accept criticism and learn from mistakes and move forward, not take things personally, recognize what's best for the team and not just themselves. Everything about this has been teamwork from day one. All of us have been working together, encouraging each other, inspiring each other, supporting each other throughout all this. It would be unbearable to be out here alone, but being out here with a group, it's really made this a wonderful experience.
And as they approach the Brandberg Mountain, it's becoming increasingly clear that no matter how much training one has completed, the team you're running with, or who's leading the group, make no mistake, this is still the oldest desert in the world, and it bites.
People really showed their determination, and I have a humble admiration for them, who had blisters, who were tired, who came in at the end of the day, everybody together. People sometimes a bit slower, and also the ones who were first there, but that didn't matter.
It's been 3 to 5 years since I've done this type of training, been in this environment. Had the baseline, the rest of the group helped me refresh and bring it back up to where it needs to be to do this kind of activity. I'm fortunate that INEOS embraces that kind of team culture where everyone needs each other to push through.
Everyone is just there to try to help one another. The fact that no one is doing it and everyone just keeps on running, keeps on cycling. Bit of a shock to some of us that we all can do it if we want to.
Learn what we can do, what I can do myself, and just learned a lot about what groups can do, how they can help each other. As a group mentality, I think this is a really good group this year, and we've seen everybody achieving it regardless.
Everybody's found it difficult to varying degrees, but they've all helped each other out. Those that have been strong have known that they're doing okay, and they've went back and they've tried to help others. And not necessarily just physically helping, some of it's mentally, it's just having the right conversation at the right time, it's having a laugh at the right time, it's putting an arm on the shoulder at the right time. When I've sat in camp of an evening or in the morning, you just watch what's going on with people, and they're all looking out for each other, and they're all just trying to make sure that as well as they're doing okay, that all their comrades are doing okay as well.
All being said, nothing can prepare you for the Brandberg Mountain.
I grew up in the mountains, and I know what they can do. I have a high respect for a mountain and how prepared you need to be to hike it. Some people were considering not bringing an extra water bottle. When you run out, it sucks. I've done solo hikes, and sometimes it's difficult to not have another person there, and now we have many, many people. So if you get kind of in a little bit of trouble, there's always someone to push you up. So I think that teamwork is going to be really important on that mountain.
I heard a lot of great stories about this mountain, and I got the tip from last year's graduates to take some beer up the mountain and then enjoy the sunset. Yeah.
We're set for a great trip tomorrow. Use the poles if you need to use the poles. Take it easy, use the ropes, encourage each other, and we'll get up there and down in one piece.
It was not as anticipated, that's for sure. Just imagined a trek similar to what we might do at home or we might do in Scotland, which is much less severe than that. I think it's definitely more sort of bordering on technical rock climbing aspects.
The climb up was something I didn't really expect. You got the rocks, you got the sand. There's no one route. The routes are not defined, and when the routes are not defined, there are no safeguards. So it's good that Simon Laker went up to do the ropes and all.
Long, hot and brutal. Normally when you go hiking, you've got turfy bits just to give your ankles a rest, but all the way up, rock, 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 and that's tough, man.
First few hours were brutal. Got really felt it.
Mountain has different areas, different terrains, different inclines, areas that's a bit more dangerous. You're expecting this kind of safety structure in place, but areas where there were no ropes, I would say some of them were pretty risky. So if a high wind just blows at a certain point, any one of us could fly down.
first things we really saw last year was when the first chaps that got up the mountain dropped their packs and turned around and came straight back down and helped some of the laggers who were really battling to carry 40 pounds of stuff up the mountain. They took their packs off them and made sure that we all got to the sleeping point so that we could all summit the mountain last year. And you won't believe it, but this year exactly the same thing happened. So those kind of camaraderie amongst a group is unbelievable to see.
Everybody made it to the base camp, where they enjoyed the beers and all had to wait until morning in order to reach the summit of the Brandberg. After 16 hours of hiking, blisters, bruises, cuts, scrapes, strain, struggle, summit.
When you finish the climb, you get the best view ever. You just sit there for a few minutes and just enjoy the view. And that's success, right?
That was the most strange day for me because we started and it would be 21k, 2,000 meters of height. Okay, they said, yeah, it's gonna be difficult. I went through so many emotions that day. The moment when you have to go uphill and you see you have to still walk 50 meters and actually you feel your legs are already burned. If you do this alone, I would never do it. Now we're there in a group. I think that's the most important thing. You see other people doing it. Some people are maybe stronger or better trained, but at the end, if someone can do it, you have to be able to do it too.
I have to say I'm impressed by the guys. I mean, both Hans and Gordon, I mean, they're climbing up the mountain like they were training for this for years and years, just like us. I mean, now they're part of the group. I mean, of course, you know that they're CEO or director of a business, INEOS, but at the end of the day, they're all smashing beers with the rest of the group, so that's what counts in the end.
I think I knew I had to set kind of milestones and goals to get to a point where I could do something like this. Again, seemed kind of unachievable at the beginning. It was a little tough to run 3 miles in the Houston heat. You just start building, you start getting better at it, and see those around you getting better, and you want to get better, and set those goals, go ahead and start working towards them bit by bit, and see what you can achieve.
It does change your lifestyle a wee bit and kind of makes you more aware of doing these challenges, and you need to try and figure out how you actually get there.
When I left school, I worked as an accountant for 4 years. I then left that because it wasn't what I wanted to do the rest of my life, so I had to prioritise a lot of different things and change my full lifestyle at that point. There's no point in having one successful day because the next day is going to be on you, so you can't rest on your laurels. Very proud. As I said, it's the sacrifices that you don't quite appreciate until you look back and you reflect on things, but I was. It's all about what do you want to do in life, try and live with no regrets, try and look forward and achieve things. That's what I decided I wanted to do. I worked hard to get there, and here we are now, in Namibia of all places.
They were nearly there. After spending the night at the Save the Rhino Trust, they had one of their toughest days ahead, travelling a total of 102 kilometres in one day.
Every day it's day 6 minus 1. Now it's day 7 already and it's already over. And maybe we had to enjoy every moment even more.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would do it again. It's such a cliche. All the things that were said years ago, it is true, but you have to experience it yourself, and suffering, it's part of the challenge of course, but it's all worth it, so I would do it again, definitely.
It's so well organized, it's incredible. I don't know, just when you look at the camps, it's amazing which effort they put in there, and yeah, when you bike towards the Brandberg mountain, it's just an amazing feeling. But also exhausting. I'm suffering a bit.
You go and tell other people where you're going, they're like, you're crazy, and then when you kind of say INEOS is putting it on for you, it's pretty special. I don't know anyone else kind of going on trips like this with the company they work for.
Can you believe we've done it? It's been an amazing experience. And we got every single one of them through it. Big elation, lots of people are happy with finishing. I think a lot of people really put in all the time, the effort, and they've come through with flying colours. A lot of the folks show their guile, their ability to withstand hardship, their ability to help each other, and I'd say most of them really want to do that. It's in every single one of them, and that's a great thing to have and great people in your company to work with.
This is an amazing experience, but you need to work for it. And the reward is really fantastic. And I think that's one of the basic DNA parts of INEOS.
I'm very proud of the whole team, all the individuals, but more importantly, I think they should be, and I think they are pretty proud of themselves. It's a huge achievement. Having the grad program was always a bit of a thought of what would it become and why do it? Is there a greater point than just offering people an opportunity to put down a goal and work towards it? And I think it's becoming very clear that this is life-changing. A lot of people come out with many lessons learned about themselves, what's possible, how to achieve something. And it'll be really interesting to see in the future as the group gets older and moves forward in life, whether they do actually take this as a huge learning curve in their life. Certainly as an experience, I think it would. A mindset is everything. It doesn't matter what you do. You need to be able to get going, get in there, try it. If it doesn't work, have the want to try and make it work. And essentially that has huge knock-on effect on your outlook as to what is possible. Essentially it gets to a point where, well, everything's possible if you want to do it.